Hello, Mrs. Carew-Rendell here. Welcome to A-Level Sociology. Sociology sits within our social sciences team at Coombe Sixth Form. So you will have three teachers that could be teaching you sociology. Me, I'm also the head of history and I teach criminology also. Mrs. Isaac, who is our teacher of sociology and criminology, or Mrs. Skelly, who's our head of social sciences. So the biggest question that most of you have probably arrived with is what actually is sociology? So sociology is the study of the society in which we live. It examines how we're influenced, how we're shaped through being members of groups and organisations. It mostly concentrates on the way we make society what it is, and also the way society makes us what we are. Sociology, the study of society, the study of people. So, what does it mean to be a sociologist then? Well, you need to be able to conduct research, meaning that you've got to be good at critical analysis and scientific inquiry, looking at the problems and benefits of current research and theories. You also are going to need to be able to apply that knowledge to the real world in terms of theory and research and how we explain the world around us. Sociologists look at society, they look at people. So in order to do that, you need to have an understanding of different theories to draw comparisons between them and then embedding that into research. So looking at research processes within sociological contexts and how this can be applied and how methods are favoured by different theorists. Here's a little bit more information about why people study sociology. So if you're thinking, oh, this sounds like a bit of me, this is something that I feel like I might be interested in, the next step really for you is to think about what it is that we actually study, and are you interested in the topics that we cover. So at A-level at Coombe for sociology, we follow the AQA syllabus, which is broken down into 3 papers. Paper 1 focuses on education with theory and methods. This looks at the purpose of education. Why do we teach? Why do we learn? Who underachieves in education and why? So different groups in society and how those different groups are affected by education. We also look at the history of education in the UK. So obviously sociology complements history really, really well, which is why it's one of the subjects that I teach as head of history. They complement each other perfectly. And we also look at how to conduct research in sociology, so how to look at what is happening in your local community, in society, how to report on that, and how to do a deep dive into that research. So paper 2, we look at topics in society. So family and households is the first one that we will look at. We look at how families are changing over time. We look at how the norms of families, the traditional conjugal roles of family, how they change, how they develop, and how actually those norms are starting to be broken away more and more in our society today, and how that affects the purpose of families, the purpose of households, how people see themselves within their families and within their households, which links to the dark side of the family and how family values and household connections can sometimes be as toxic as they can be positive. So how would that then impact the psyche of a child, for example? So you can see how sociology links really, really well with psychology as well as history. We do look at history of childhood. We look at how childhood has developed over time. So how did childhood start and end? So for example, childhood would end at the age of 4 many years ago, especially in the Victorian period when children would be going to work in the factories. Childhood then considered to be ended in our day about 16 to 18, doesn't it? However, some people would argue that that is changing more and more with technology, the amount of information that is available to children. When does childhood start? When does it end? And how does it affect us in society? Really interesting topic. Our second topic in the paper 2 is to do with beliefs in society. We look at how science and religion differ, how they affect society, how they cross-reference, how they coexist, how are they similar, how are they different, how do they compare. We look at why people are religious. What answers are people trying to find through religion? What value does religion bring to people's lives? How does religion help support a community of people? Remember, sociology is all to do with people and society. So we look at that and then think, well, how do these groups in society make it more or less likely to be religious? And whether people are becoming less religious as time is moving on. So as our society develops, as technology develops, as science develops, are people turning to religion more or less? So sociology, as you can see, again, complements things like psychology, it complements history, but it also complements philosophy and ethics really, really well too, because we look at these big questions of why do people turn to religion? Why do people turn to science? How do these thoughts impact society? So paper 3, we look at crime and deviance with theory and methods. So we dedicate a whole paper to the topic of criminal behaviour and deviant behaviour and understanding those behaviours. So obviously this complements criminology, but I would say that this section is at a higher level of detail and depth because it focuses on the sociological perspectives of crime, not just the crimes themselves, but so much more than that. We look at things like green crimes and state crimes. We look at the social construction of concepts of crime and deviance with explanations of crime and deviance. We look at the work of Merton on the causes of crime from a functionist perspective and Becker from an interactionist perspective. We look at why people commit crime. We look at how the victims of crime feel. We look at formal, informal methods of social control and how that would impact crime and criminal behaviour. We look at things like the work of Hydenson on female conformity in male-dominated patriarchal societies and how that affects crime and criminal behaviour. We look at things like how to research crime and criminals. We look at the sociological viewpoint of that research. So we would look at things like why criminal and deviant behaviour can impact public debate, how it can impact policy and government, so links with politics as well as history. We look at things like the work of Albert Cohen on delinquent subcultures and Carlin on women and crime and poverty. We look at, when we're researching, the usefulness of main sources of data on crime, the collection of official data on crime, how that's collected properly. We look at patterns, trends in crime figures, and something called the dark figure. We look at current case studies as well. So sociology is a study of society as it is today, but how it's got there. So again, it really complements history perfectly, because we look at current case studies like the London riots, we connect them to sociological perspectives. And those perspectives that we focus on in particular are feminism, Marxism, functionalism, and postmodernism. So again, sociology goes hand in hand beautifully with history, and I would say an excellent alternative to studying criminology, because sociology offers so much more of an in-depth perspective of crime and deviance, not just the crimes that are committed, but why people commit those crimes and how that behaviour impacts the whole community and the response of the community, the government and the law. So again, a really good one if you're looking into getting into law and politics too. So for your assessment in A-level sociology, you will take 3 exams at the end of year 13 on the topics that we've just discussed. Each of the exams are 2 hours in length, and they each feature a variety of questions from 2-mark definitions up to 30-mark essays. So you will be needing to be a keen writer and happy with writing essays to do A-level sociology. But like psychology, there is no coursework. Psychology is all exams at the end of the course. Sociology, again, all exams at the end of the course. So similar content to criminology in that crime and deviance paper, but we do study crime in more depth in sociology. The assessment is different to criminology also, in that criminology is a level 3 diploma due to the controlled assessment where you write assessments in school rather than in an end of topic exam. And for that reason, not all universities always accept criminology, but all absolutely accept sociology because it is a full, academically rigorous A-level, 3 exams at the end of year 13. So why study sociology? Well, it's a highly respected academic qualification, and for that reason it can lead to a huge range of careers. But given that sociology is to do with society and people, the huge range of careers very often involve working with people and in communities. So looking at community development, education, if you are looking into teaching, sociology is a fantastic qualification to open that doorway for you. But also a lot of people go into policing, a lot of people go into social research, youth work, a lot of people go into charity work, but it's not just confined to things like the public sector. People get into working in human resources, life coaches, journalism, public relations. So sociology opens a huge amount of doors because of the skills that it gives you in terms of understanding people and society and communities. So if you're thinking that this is a bit of you, but you just want to know about the entry requirements, what you need to know is that you should be able to analyse, evaluate, research, and really importantly, think. Think critically and think deeply. You will need to be able to write strong essays and be keen to research independently with our support, of course, but research is a big element of being a sociologist. You do need to have at least a grade 5 to 6 in English at GCSE. So if you are thinking that you would like to do A-level sociology, that English grade is super important because we need to be able to see that you can construct critical arguments in your writing. So don't just take our word for it. There are a huge range of people that have come through Coombe School, current students, teachers, but also students that have gone on to different careers that report just how valuable sociology is in their careers and in their working world. If you have any further questions about sociology at A-level at Coombe, please do not hesitate to email me. It's Mrs. Carew Rendell, scarew@coombe.co.uk. Thank you for taking the time to watch this information video. Hope to see you soon.